All right. So what did professional development look like throughout your teaching career? What did you do personally to keep it growing as a teacher?
I focused in primarily on my work as a high school teacher, as opposed to what I'm doing now, although some of the things are the same. As a high school teacher, first thing I did was associate with colleagues who were positive, hardworking, had high standards, which I thought I did, and I think I do, because I found that if I surrounded myself with that, it helped me be that way even on a bad day, as opposed to hanging around with colleagues who were cynical and tired. That dragged me down, so I tried to do that. I also have been a member of the PHE Canada, used to be CAFERD, since I graduated from university, so I'm coming on many years of that, and I found that is just, you got the journal 3 or 4 times a year, you read it and went, oh, something new. So that was the third way. Colleagues, journal. I also tried to get involved in various district leadership roles as it made sense, just to not just be around my little community, but try and learn from other teachers. So I think those are my 3 biggies when I was in the system, so to speak.
So that would help you kind of constantly like revise your program
Yeah.
and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Did you do sort of like daily reflections on that as well?
Later, my early years, I didn't do it officially. I certainly did it unofficially, going, well, oh, that didn't work, or oh, that worked, because in my first few years, obviously you're going through everything for the first time in a lot of ways, so it's kind of just a relief to get it done.
Yeah.
And so I would say my first 2 years, I didn't reflect in a meaningful way because I was just relieved I had completed it.
Yeah.
But as I got more experience, then I had an orderly reflection, and I'd actually write in my day book, you know, something as simple as "don't do that again,"
Yeah.
or I'll redo this for next year. So I
Yeah.
made it more orderly as opposed to just the
Yeah.
good bad kind of
Yes.
thing. So
Oh, great. And what opportunities did the schools you worked for provide you to grow?
the school, I'll stick with the first school district. We had our BCTF dues that we paid to our local association. We got a certain amount of Pro-D money individually every year to do something with it, either buy journal subscriptions or whatever. But what most of us did was we'd save it up so that we could go to a conference in a warm place, because we were in the north. So usually you could save it up and go to a conference about every 3 years. So that's sort of what I did. I would save it, and then lo and behold, go to a conference in the middle of February in a nice warm place.
Nice.
So that was one thing. The major one was, though, the Pro-D days that the district got, and we had 2 ways we were required to use them. Half of them had to be used as school-wide ones, where every teacher in the school did the same thing. And we elected a Pro-D rep every year, and his or her job was to pick somebody. So they would send out a list of possible topics, and we'd vote and do all that, and then they would find our top 3 and then have to find someone to lead the workshop. So they had a certain amount of money to bring someone in to lead a workshop and whatever. So some of the school-wide ones, as I recall, we had school-wide ones on fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, because we had a fair number of students who suffered from that. Although it was early days, we didn't actually know that's what it was. So it was before it was even all that well known, and I'm not that old. And we had school-wide ones, early days of bullying, although it wasn't called bullying at the time, believe it or not. So those. And then the other half of the days were department days, where departments had to submit a plan or a proposal saying, this is what we would like to do on our Pro-D day. Is that all right?
Yeah.
And the admin would say yes or no, and then we would do it and have to submit a report on it. So for example, in the PE department, we would submit saying, we want to work on revising our cross-country ski program in our school, and these are our actions we will do during the day.
Sure.
And they would say, yes, do it. and then after we would submit saying,
This is
we
okay.
did it, or whatever, a report after. So those were our two ways. We didn't, nowadays, they have the option of individual protees where they can do something as an individual. At the time, we weren't allowed to do that. I don't know why.
For what reason?
Yeah.
All right. And was there a specific method of professional development that you found most interesting or motivating?
I think the action that worked best for me was and both as a department and as an individual, when I would or we would target a specific doable project that we could see it completed. So, because then we would go, okay, it worked, we saw progress, as opposed to larger ones where sometimes they went by the wayside. So I found it helped me to have smaller ones that I got done, and then I could start another smaller one and it got done.
Yes.
Because I found the bigger ones just got lost in the daily stuff, and we would come back a year later and wouldn't have acted on it because we had jobs.
Other things going on.
So there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And do you have any advice for the graduating class of 2014 about staying motivated to go as a teacher?
I think it was one of the first things I said was surround yourself with positive, hardworking people.
Yeah.
And that I can't think of a way, that is certainly the highest on my list, because the alternative, if you surround yourself with negativity and cynicism, it's too hard to fight. You'll become part of that. And so surround yourself with people who are just like you, I think. And second thing, pace yourself. You don't have to change the world all in your first 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years. Like, bite off something that you can see progress. Because I think one of the big things that works against Pro-D and growth and energy and longevity is simple fatigue. When you're tired, you know what happens. You don't do much. It's hard to be motivated when you're tired. So just pick off something and pace yourself and say, I don't have to do it all early. So that's what I have.
Perfect.
What else would you like?
That's it. Well,
That's
thanks,
it.
Sandy.
You're welcome.
Yeah.